I'm very pleased to be able to welcome you to our seminar today on trade and food security. The most recent data released by the FAO shows that food prices have hit record highs. These price spikes are undermining the food security of poor consumers, especially in importing developing countries. This means that the recent outbreak of conflict in Ukraine has not only created a serious humanitarian crisis, it has also exacerbated the global food security challenges we are facing. Even before the war began, the FAO had estimated that between 720 million and 811 million people in the world faced hunger in 2020. Many more were burdened with other forms of malnutrition. Trade thus has a central role to play in addressing the food security challenges we face today. It can help move food around the world from places with a surplus to those with a deficit. Trade can help improve access to food by creating jobs and raising incomes. Trade can contribute to the attainment of food security in all countries and help improve people's lives around the world.
I would like to ask the following questions. In regards to facts, I would like to ask us, have we as community used the facts we know in the most responsible and cautious way that is maybe necessary when we speak about food? When it comes to values, are we at a point where the value of me becomes bigger than the value of us? And I'm here speaking to a community of multilateralists, I assume, where the us was traditionally important. And when it comes to interests, I ask the question, notwithstanding all of this, are we maybe at a turning point where at last we manage to turn this crisis into an opportunity and find innovative ways to balance interests and finally manage to get policy packages right?
Trade plays a critical role in ensuring the stability of access to food and affordability of available food. In this context, the multilateral trade rules on agriculture have a huge impact upon sustainable development strategies of food deficit developing countries. We need multilateral trade rules that work both in good and bad times of food availability and food supply, that work in changing climate conditions and for food sufficient and food deficit countries and leave no one behind.
Agriculture, as we have heard, is an important economic activity, but also it is a source of food security as well as livelihoods for many people around the world. And I think what is important is to emphasize that agriculture is about people. We know that our food supplies come from domestic production as well as international trade. However, given the highly concentrated and volatile nature of global agriculture markets, a strong, stable, and diverse system of domestic production remains an indispensable and integral part of how developing countries must make their own agriculture resilient against many crises.
You know, there's a good rule for your personal life. It's don't make a long-term commitment in a crisis. So that might be a financial investment, or in your love life, or buying a house. Like, be careful in a crisis. And so I think that's a good thing for us to remember. But I do think that a crisis can also help give someone a good reality check.